Hello. Hello, folks. Sorry, frog in my throat here. David Brannen here. Let's dive into today's topic at Ask a Lawyer Live. So today I'm going to be talking about this. Oh, before I get started, we've a little bit of hair problems going on here. We started a new thing where we're getting people to, oh, no sound. Okay, no, it's just questions coming in. Okay. All right, perfect. So we've started a new thing where we ask people on our email list if they have specific topics they want covered on these weekly sessions, and the ones this week are all coming, for the next few weeks actually, are all coming from user-generated topics that people want to hear about. So what I'm going to talk about today was someone asked us about what is the disability tax credit, how is it different from CPP disability, how do the two interact? They just wanted me to kind of break it down for you. So that's what we're going to do today. Let's start by talking a bit about the disability tax credit. The important thing to know about the disability tax credit is that it is a non-fundable, refundable tax credit. That means it can reduce the amount of income tax you owe, but if you don't owe taxes, it doesn't pay you anything directly. So you qualify for submitting a CRA, Canada Revenue Agency form called a T2201, and it needs to be certified by a medical professional. CRA will then approve it only if you meet the definition of impairment under the specific definition of impairment under the disability tax credit. I won't go into the details of it because it's not important for the purposes of what we're doing. But it's important to know that if you don't earn enough to use the credit yourself, you can transfer it to a supporting family member who's often a spouse, a parent, or adult child. Someone that you're financially dependent on can take advantage of the disability tax credit that you applied for. But at the end of the day, it is a tax credit, so it doesn't pay a monthly benefit. It gives you a tax refund if you are paying taxes and have a net amount of taxes paid, so that you have taxes paid that have not yet been refunded to you through other kind of refunds, etc. Now let's contrast that with the Canada Disability Benefit. It's very different. This is a monthly income benefit paid to people under age 65 who are unable to work because of a severe and prolonged disability. So to qualify for the CPP Disability Benefit, you must have paid into the CPP program through employment. So you must have been a worker and paid into CPP through your workplace payroll deductions. So the benefit that you get from CPP Disability, if you're approved, it gets paid to you monthly. It is taxable, and it goes directly to your bank account. It's meant to replace lost earnings because of disability. So they're very different things. One is an income benefit, and one is a tax refund. Let's look at some of the key differences just summarized here. So let's just compare them directly here. So the disability tax credit is a tax credit. It reduces how much taxes you owe or a family member owes if you are financially dependent on the family member. They can use your tax credit benefit, your tax credit. The CPP disability is a benefit. It gives you taxable income every month. So the disability tax credit is handled by Canada Revenue Agency, and the CPP disability is administered by Service Canada. These are different government departments. You claim the disability tax credit when you file your taxes, and CPP disability gets paid to you directly. Now, these programs are completely separate. You can qualify for one and not the other, or qualify for both, but you have to apply individually for each of them. Now, how do they affect your finances? So the disability tax credit can lead to thousands of dollars in tax refunds for you, especially if you are approved retroactively. So what usually happens is if you're approved retroactively, and you've paid taxes in those prior years, or your family member has, they will reassess your taxes for up to 10 years earlier, applying that refund every year. And that can result in significant, like up to $30,000, $40,000 as the best case scenario of refunds from filing your taxes based on this refund. Some people will get nothing back because they either didn't pay enough taxes in, they didn't have any taxes, or the amount of the refund that you get is lower. Okay, so it really depends on a case-by-case basis how much you're going to get back. Now, CPP disability gives you reliable monthly income, but it's fully taxable. That can affect other benefits and tax brackets and things like that, okay? So if you're already getting income from other sources, the CPP income can come in even though it's, say, only $20,000. If you're already getting, say, $20,000 from some other source, now you're getting $40,000 a year, and that can put you into higher tax brackets. Now, they do work together because if you're on CPP disability, it's a taxable income. By getting the disability tax credit, you can get a credit to apply against the taxes you're paying on the CPP disability income. So that means every month, so much of your CPP disability is being paid to Revenue Canada. By having the disability tax credit, and if you don't have significant other sources of taxable income, you are almost guaranteed to get all that money back. All the money you paid on taxes on your CPP disability will come back to you when you file your taxes if you have the disability tax credit. All right. So another difference, I guess, is that the disability tax credit is also unique in that it is used as a gateway to other benefits. So getting approved for the disability tax credit is good because you get the tax credit, but it can also allow you to get other benefits like the Canada Disability Benefit, which is new, but it does require DTC approval, disability tax credit approval. The disability tax credit approval also allows you to open registered disability savings plans, which, when used properly, can be a significant benefit to someone who has a long-term disability. Okay. Now you have to start these fairly young, but if you're able to open these up, it is a great way to have the government contribute to a retirement savings plan for someone with a disability who's unable to work. But again, you're only eligible for this if you have, if you're approved for the disability tax credit. So with registered disability savings plans, the government will contribute to match, like there's a certain amount you're allowed to put in every year, and the government will match it up to a certain amount, but you're getting money from the government that goes in. It grows as this has been invested, and by the time you take it out later on, it will come out, I believe, as taxable income, but a lot of the money that's been put in there is going to be coming from the government. Okay, there's strict rules about the RDSPs, and I'm not really an expert on them, but it is something for you to think about. And there are other provincial and territorial credits like transit passes and other things that are based on you proving the disability tax credit status. So just keep in mind that getting the disability tax credit is not only about saving on taxes, it can be a gateway to further supports. All right, now let's just wrap it up here. So most people getting CPP disability don't realize you can also get the disability tax credit, and you're missing out on getting, tax refunds and also access to other benefits, like, for example, the Canada Disability Benefit. If you're already medically approved for the CPP disability, that's an indicator that you may also qualify for the disability tax credit. It's not going to be a guarantee because they are assessed separately, and one does focus on your one is focused on your capacity to work regularly, that's CPP disability. The other is focused on, do you have one of these listed impairments with your activities of daily living? It's not really focused on work. It's focused on your ability to walk and get around, your any impairments arising from a mental disorder, your ability to feed yourself, dress yourself, whether you have to spend an inordinate amount of time every day. That means just like a lot of extra time doing life-saving care like diabetes management and this kind of stuff. All right, so just to wrap it up, CPP disability is monthly income and it's taxable. The disability tax credit reduces your overall tax bill. When you file your taxes, it can result in you getting tax refunds that you otherwise would not get. It can also unlock other programs like the Canada Disability Benefit. They're often a powerful combination to use them together, and I recommend that everyone should be applying for both just to give yourself the best possible chances of getting all the benefits you're entitled to. All right. That's all I have on that one, and hopefully the person that asked that question is here, and if they have other questions, you can throw them in the chat. Looks like we already have questions coming in, so I'm going to dive in here with questions that people are putting in the chat. Let's have a look. I have a question. Why does my LTD offset the cost of living increase I receive from CPP disability? Why does my LTD offset the cost of living? It is not usual or typical for an LTD to offset a cost of living increase from CPP disability. But let me just back up a little bit and explain to everyone what's going on here. So when you get CPP, long-term disability is allowed to offset your CPP disability payment. One thing that is true for CPP disability is every year your monthly benefit amount goes up by the rate of inflation. And it's actually not yearly. Sometimes they're assessing it even monthly. But the general idea is that your CPP disability amount is constantly increasing at the rate of inflation. And this person is wondering, why is it as my CPP disability benefit increases that the LTD is able to keep offsetting the, whatever the most recent number is? So in other words, my CPP disability is constantly going up and my LTD is going down because they're offsetting the increases. So the answer to that, Yusuf, is that normally in most cases, the long-term disability insurer is not allowed to offset the CPP inflation increases. For them to be able to do that, it would have to be authorized through the policy, either directly or indirectly inferred from the policy that that is what it's meant to be. Now, normally most policies do not offset the CPP increase, most LTD policies. So what you're describing is not a typical situation. But ultimately, it boils down to, does your policy allow for the insurer to offset CPP disability inflation increases? And if you're telling me that your insurer is offsetting them, then that would mean that they have interpreted their policy to mean that they have the ability to do that. You would have to challenge that in the courts or appeal the decision. You'd have to appeal the decision to the insurer, but it sounds like they've already decided this is what they're going to do. But you would appeal it if they deny it and say, no, this is why I would ask them, like, what is the source in the policy that they're relying on to offset this, these CPP disability increases? They should be able to point to a place in the policy that allows them to do it. And you can then, if you still disagree with them, you can file a lawsuit against them, basically suing them to pay you back for what they've taken of these CPP offsets and also to stop doing it into the future. So just some clarifications you provided. Even in the policy, it doesn't mention anything about COLA or offsetting cost of living increases. That could be true. I can't say without looking at the policy, but it's possible that sometimes it may not be mentioned directly, but it may be indirectly inferred by just the wording. There's also possible that you don't have the right version of the policy, or there's been changes. So those are, or you may have a newer version, there's an older version. So you have to be very careful. Like, there's a lot of questions you have to assert that you have to make sure you have the right policy, that you're all on the same page of what is the right policy, what is the wording that was in effect at the time your claim started, and that kind of thing. This one says, on behalf of my friend, he needs help. He was denied LTD benefits after 2 years. Even after completing an appeal, his doctor supports he is unable to work at any job. However, the insurance company has an assessment that says he can do some jobs with interaction. Yeah, that's a very common thing. So at the 2-year point, insurance companies will get vocational assessments that say people should be able to do some other work. So I do recommend most people take a strong look at that and consider challenging it, especially if you and your doctor don't believe you're capable of doing other work. Then I would recommend getting a legal advice from a lawyer. Your friend could contact our firm through our website, and we could give a free consultation and let that person know, like, what their options are, what the next steps would be, and if we could represent them or answer any questions they have about working with a lawyer for appealing that type of case. All right, let me take a little drink here, talking too much. All right, does anyone else have questions? If not, I'm going to go, while we're waiting for more questions, I am going to go look at the old forum. Oh, there's a little clarification. Union told him they can't help him. It's okay for a lawyer. Okay, yeah, that's true. So just because the person is unionized, it doesn't mean you can't get your own lawyer. It depends. It's a case-by-case basis when the unions are involved. So the first thing would be to get contact a lawyer for a free consultation. And then the lawyer could review it and make sure that there is something a lawyer could do. Some of these cases, you can't sue the LTD plan or the insurer. If that's the case, then it would be more complicated, and you might have to go through your union, but we don't know if that's the case here or not. Just because you're in a union doesn't mean that you are 100% not able to do a lawsuit against the insurer for something like this. The starting point here, though, would be for your friend to get the insurance company to ask them to put in writing, like, what part of the policy are they relying on to reduce the CPP disability inflation increases. Okay, this one says, my understanding is CPP disability is taxable and was quoted to have 15% taken off CPP. Unfortunately, because the total amount support is quite low with the introduction of the CBD, do you think it would be in a person's interest to use the money towards contributing to taxes? Note, I have qualified for, let me just see this again. CPP disability is taxable and was quoted to have 15% taken off. Yeah. Unfortunately, because the total amount of support is quite low monthly with the introduction of the Canada Disability Benefit, do you think it would be in a person's interest to use the money towards contributing to taxes for a person who's qualified for the DTC? Yeah. If you've qualified for the disability tax credit, then you probably still have to pay the taxes on the CPP disability and just get it back when you file your return every year. So it'll be like every year you file your return, you're going to get a bunch of money back. So it's like a terrible savings account where the money's going to go in, but you're going to earn no interest on it, and then you'll get it back. I don't know that you have the option not to have the 15% taken off. That's usually set by Revenue Canada. They don't normally like assess it individually. They will just sort of apply a standard percentage based on the amount involved. So given the amount of your benefit, you may fall in the range where it's 15%. It might be higher if your CPP disability was higher. I'm not 100% sure on that. So when you're saying use the CPD money towards contributing to taxes, I don't think that you'll be able to directly do that. Like, you could get the money paid into your account and then arrange to have money go from your checking account to pay towards your taxes. Like, there's not a way that I doubt that you're going to be able to have the CBD money just go in to pay your taxes or anything like that. So I think, unfortunately, what's going to have to happen for you is they're going to keep just taking the 15% off unless you can get Service Canada to not do that, but they probably won't. Then what's going to happen is you're going to get your Canada Disability Benefit money that you're just going to get to keep. And then every year you're going to file your taxes and you're going to get a bunch back. You'll get that money back from Revenue Canada. They're more likely to do it that way because even though you seem like you're guaranteed to get it back, that may not always be the case. Like, it's possible your disability tax credit could go away at some point. It's possible, like Service Canada is not going to worry about all those situations, or Revenue Canada. They just want their money, so they don't want to get into like a case by case basis of like they're just going to use a blunt. That's my impression of it. Is they just force everybody to use the same process. That way, if for whatever reason, like maybe 5 years in a row, you get everything back, but then something changes with you lose the disability tax credit, you start getting other income, taxable income, and now you start owing taxes. They don't want to be in a situation where they're paying all the money out to you and then having you not being able to pay your taxes. They want the tax money to always be paid. So I think that's probably what's going to happen. Okay, I understand that reason being, okay, because I'm 57, I'm wondering how it will parlay into the old age security. Yeah, I'm not an expert on the old age security, to be honest. So unfortunately, I am not the right guy to ask about that. Yeah, I'm not the right guy to ask. I know the old age security, I'm not even sure when it kicks in, the old age security. I don't know if it's at 60 or 65. If you're on, I assume you're also on, yeah, you are on, I assume, Kim, you're on CPP disability as well. Yeah, I think you did say CPP. Yeah, you are on CPP, obviously. Yeah, CPP disability. So the CPP disability is going to go to age 65, at which point it will automatically convert to CPP retirement. And your old age, let me just look up OAS. Yeah. So for OAS to kick in, it kicks in at age 65. So you would get your CPP disability up to age 65 and the Canada Disability Benefit up to age 65. When you turn from 64 to 65, those two will stop and you would start getting the old age security plus your CPP disability retirement plus possibly the guaranteed income supplement if you are a low income senior. So you would get that assessed as well. If you qualified for the Canada Disability Benefit, there's a good chance you'd qualify for the Guaranteed Income Supplement. So the Canada Disability Benefit would be replaced with the Guaranteed Income Supplement, and your CPP disability would be replaced with the Old Age Security plus CPP disability. Don't take me to the, I'm not an expert, but that is my understanding of how it would work. Okay, we got Yusuf back here with another question. The LTD benefits are directly reduced by income received from any of the following sources: all eligible sick leave benefits remaining from the employer, any income from employer paid. Yeah, any income benefits paid under the Canada. So they're relying on this any income benefits paid under the Canada, or to include, they're interpreting that to include like the increases, right? A broad statement like that could be read to say that includes, it says any income benefits paid under the Canada Pension Plan. So any income benefits paid under the Canada Pension Plan would include inflation increases. From what from just reading what you're putting there, I could see why they would fit it under that. So even though it doesn't say inflation increases, it says any income benefits paid under the Canada Pension Plan. And they're already saying excluding children's and spousal benefits. So the fact that they're excluding some things leads it to their mind that they had exclusions in their mind, so that it was purposely, they could have added children's and spousal benefits and inflation increases. Like the fact that they have exclusions but didn't include inflation increases is a good reason to argue that they are allowed to deduct it based on this. So again, this is, I haven't seen the plan, but I'm just giving you some feedback based on what you're posting here. This is likely the clause they're going to point to. I would still I'd still ask him to say what authority are they doing it, but they probably are allowed to. They probably are allowed to, but I can't say for sure in his case, because I can't give legal advice to someone who I haven't talked to or reviewed all their stuff. But based on this, I could see why they would. All right. Okay, that's just more of the same. Yep. Okay, let's look at this one. How do you know if you have any unused DTC for a given year? Would to transfer any unused room to my spouse? That is a good question that I do not know the answer to. I mean, you would know if it was unused. The way you would know it was unused is when you file your taxes. Like, it would be unused if you had a credit for, like, say, $2,000, but you didn't have enough taxes owing, so, like, you only used up $500 of it, so you had $1,500 that wasn't even touched because you didn't have enough taxes to be refunded. I think for it to be transferred over, you need to, like, file your taxes jointly, but I don't know the process for getting it transferred to a spouse. I don't, like, I think it has to go to all one person. I don't know that you can split it up between you and a spouse. So when you say unused DTC for a given year, I may be wrong on this, but my understanding was it had to be all or nothing. So, like, you would give the credit to your spouse or you would claim the credit. It wouldn't be a thing where you could kind of divide it up, but I could be wrong on that. I could be wrong on that. Now, I think where you would probably find something like this is going to be on your notice of assessment when you get that back. When you get the notice of assessment back from Revenue Canada, it probably has, like, unused credits and things on that. But I'll tell you where I would ask this, Steve, is go to the Canada Disability Claim Forum. I'm going to go there in a second here to look at questions, but go post it on there, and I guarantee there'll be someone on there who will know the answer, because people on there are dealing with this all the time. You'll get practical advice from real people who are dealing with the same issues. So Kim is saying just a lot of moving parts. Yeah. It is it's a lot of moving parts. Yes, exactly. And it's new programs and things like that. And it's because some of it's disability, some of it's, it's hard to find one person who kind of knows about it all. Like I said, I don't know a lot about the non-disability stuff. So let's take a quick peek. Steve, this is I'm going to go bring it up here now. So the forum that I'm talking about is this one right here. Oop, wrong thing. This is the forum. So you can go post your question in here, and I think you'd get an answer pretty quickly. Like, for example, here's someone talking about, when should I reapply for the disability tax credit? Time flies. My approved disability tax credit was from 2020 to 2025. After doing some research, I found they are supposed to send me a letter to renew it. Does this actually happen? When would I apply for 2025 period and beyond? Yeah, I agree with Jammer. I wouldn't wait for anything. I would 100% go as soon as you can. Go to a Service Canada office and put the application in. Don't wait for them to trigger it, because they may not do it. Yeah, and this person went and checked, and they were supposed to get a letter 6 months out, and they didn't. So you can even apply a year beforehand. So that's good advice there. That's why I recommend coming on here. There's people on here that are doing the exact thing. I only see certain types of issues because it's things that go to court or that are relevant for like a legal case, where there's a lot of other practical questions that I just never encounter that people will be able to tell you about on here. All right, here's a question about the new Canada Disability Benefit. Okay, it says here, someone's asking, they're asking, wonder if anyone has heard anything about receiving confirmation about being qualified and getting your payments. I received a call today, but didn't get to call them back before closing. Went to my Service Can account, no info. So this person says it looks like we're being stonewalled. I applied on June 20, getting a letter with their secret code, which is supposed to speed it up. I haven't gotten anything back. I haven't even updated the website. Okay. This person saying same thing here. I got the letter and the code, applied before the deadline. No word, just hoping for a $200 deposit in my account, then hoping my LTD insurance doesn't scale it back. Okay, delete that. All right, so we got a lot of moving parts here on this. Another one on the Canada Disability Benefit. Like there's a lot of questions on here. Someone must have asked a new question here somewhere. Okay. Okay, so this one was, what was this question about? About talking on the employer asking to talk on phone. Yeah, I was recommending this person go on the phone call with the employer. Yeah, and you don't have to give personal medical details. Okay, yeah. Yeah. So basically, like, this person was just panicky because their employer wanted to talk to them. They're scared that they're going to be put on the spot and have to make decisions. You can always tell the employer that you need time to consider things. Within employment law, courts recognize like there's a power imbalance there, and they do not look favorably on employers who are trying to jam things down and putting these artificial deadlines and pressure tactics on employees. So as long as you're acting in good faith and returning the calls to the employer and not obviously like dragging and delaying things, that you're going to get a lot of, it's very much favored for employees in terms of courts will want to make sure that employees are not getting taken advantage of. Okay, this person says, just curious, is there a limit on how many escalations, re-escalations are allowed? I'm on my third time now for a reconsideration decision. When I called and asked today, they said it's unlimited number of, is that true? I don't know what they mean by an escalation. So I don't know where to understand what they're asking. To say, I'm not sure what they mean by escalations, honestly. I think that's maybe what they're talking about. Like they're asking, usually escalation means you've got a complaint and you are asking to go to the manager type of thing. We'll see if they answer that. Okay. All righty. Let me just take a look at here. Yeah, thanks, Kim. Thank you. No, I don't mind jumping on here. I used to I have a hard job working at this time of the day, so I figured now's the right time to just do these. Otherwise, I'm very unproductive with getting work done near the end of the day. So I found it was like I want to do these live streams, and this makes it a good fit to just do it this time of day. Jump on here. Not everyone always has questions, which is completely understandable, but it is helpful when people have questions if they have them. If not, I always do a little presentation and stuff. Check in on the forum. See what else I got here. Yeah, I've got a few people have messaged me directly. Okay. Well, I think that's it, folks. We'll just call it an early day here, which is fine. I'll be back tomorrow. What am I talking about tomorrow? So tomorrow's another a user-generated topic, and tomorrow I'm going to be talking about how LTD insurers assess work capacity and medical evidence. We explain how insurers determine if you're totally disabled and what documents make a difference. Okay, yeah, I will be talking about that tomorrow. So that's another question someone had. That's a very practical question. So we'll be dealing with that one tomorrow. All right, I'm going to let it go there. We'll talk to you folks. Oh, before I go, if probably most of you have already done this, but you can always go pick up a copy of my book, Beginner's Guide to CPP Disability. You can get that down in the description area. There's a link to my Linktree. Once you go into my Linktree, there's options in there to download all these different books. So you can download this as a PDF. You'll also get the option if you download it. Once you download it, it does put you on our email list, so just be aware of that. So that means you'll get like a weekly email from us that goes through, well, I'm looking at it right now. We have a weekly email that just kind of goes through what's coming up, things to watch out for, that type of stuff. Comes out once a week. You'll also have the option to order a paperback copy of this with other goodies that we will put inside of it for you to help you out. Yeah, that's all for now. So I guess wish you guys all the best. We'll see you back here tomorrow.